Hey y'all, welcome to a new week and to welcome to October. I can't even fathom right now the fact that it's fucking October. This is really crazy. So, I wanted to talk today about comparison and jealousy. And really briefly, we're not gonna go too deep into it, but if you join my monthly online studio, then we will have more of an in-depth discussion about it, and then use some of our practices, our movement practices for this month to focus on intentional release of comparison and release of that feeling of jealousy kind of overriding all of the good things that we're feeling. So I'm not, this topic has been coming up for me a lot over the last few weeks in my own life, and just feeling this overwhelming sensation of comparison when I'm seeing other women that are killing it and doing their thing. They're looking good, they're feeling good, they're really, standing in their sense of power. And something about it, from time to time, it doesn't happen all the time, but there are certain times when it just takes me out, especially when I'm not feeling like I'm on top of my game, or if I'm not feeling like I haven't been taking care of myself in the way that I've been wanting to. And so I start to get this voice, it starts to, compare the things that she's doing for herself versus what I'm not doing. It starts to talk about how, like, well, I would be in a better position if, or, maybe this is the reason why she's able to do XYZ because she has this thing and I don't. And comparison and jealousy definitely are normal, right? So we want to first normalize the experience of having these feelings that kind of take us away from our sense of power, and what I love to call it, like, our temptress energy, right? And our temptress energy is the thing that we're always trying to get back to. It's that juicy, luscious, vibrant place in our bodies, in our minds, in our spirits, where we really feel connected to a deep sense of power, where we feel connected to our divinity, where we feel connected to a sense of knowingness about the things that are changeless about us, no matter what things kind of move and shapeshift in our life. These are the things that we're holding on to, and by being able to hold on to those things, we stand in our sense of power and we radiate, right? We radiate this energy that is full, that is vibrant, that is confident, that is powerful, that's sexy, and that makes us feel really good. And so what comparison and jealousy do is snatch us away from that energy, right? Because immediately it creates a separation. It separates us from the other person. It makes this distinction and this space of lack where we have something that they don't, and therefore this is the reason why XYZ is happening in their life. So what I want you to do is, if this is starting to resonate with you, I just want you to think about maybe one or two examples from the past month where you found yourself pitting yourself against someone else. So you felt this overwhelming sense of anxiety, this overwhelming sense of jealousy. You started to kind of look at, like, oh, well, look at her hair, or look at, the job she has, or look at her partner, or look at, the way that she's wearing that outfit, or whatever, whatever the thing was that came up for you as you were starting to get into that comparison mode. And then I want you to write down, what did that voice say was not true about you? So, well, she was able to wear her hair like that. Well, I'll never be able to do that. Like, that's a style that I've been wanting to rock, but I'll never look good like that. I want you to fill in that next blank with the thing that gets taken away from you. And then after that, I want you to talk about, like, how do you feel when you are in that space? And does it make you feel empowered? Do you feel strong? Do you just kind of like brush it off and let it go? Or do you start to feel really icky and like go down that rabbit hole of, comparison, and feeling trapped and feeling alone and avoidant of, kind of the love that is, or the abundance of whatever that is around you at that moment? And I just want you to kind of look at those three things, right? So we're looking at the thing that kind of triggers the comparison or the jealousy, what it takes away from us, what we're comparing it to in ourselves. 3, how does it make us feel? So we can kind of look at those three things individually. When you get to the point where, that voice is starting to kind of override all of the good feelings, right? It's starting to override all of the things that feel really powerful about you. It's starting to take over a day that was going pretty good for the most part, and now it's just turning into a shit day. I want you to think about these three little segments, and then I want you to come back to our changeless facts. So if you've been here for a while, you know that I teach from a multitude of courses, but one of the courses being A Course in Miracles, and we have to come home to our changeless facts. The changeless facts about ourselves are that we are loved, we are beautiful, we are whole, we are needed, we are desired, we are kept, we are forgiven, we are needed, we are wanted in this world, and we are wanted by the people that are surrounding us in our lives. And the more that we lean into that truth, as opposed to leaning into this idea that there's something wrong or broken or unfixable or unattractive or undesirable about ourselves, and therefore because of this thing that is obviously so far beyond our control, we'll never be able to have XYZ. So it might start off with something very little, like, man, I wish I could rock those pants like that, or man, I wish I had a body like hers, or man, I wish my hair looked like hers, or whatever. It may start off like that, but then it can spiral into something much larger, much greater than we originally intended. And so that's what this whole idea of comparison is, a thief of joy, right? Because it starts off very small. It starts off with just something that seems like it's not a big deal, but then the more and more that thing adds up, the more times you compare yourself, the more times you allow yourself to get in a space where you're seeing someone else have something, and instead of saying, I'd like to have that for myself as well, or I love the way she's doing that and I'd love to be able to embody or have that in my own life, the more times you don't allow yourself to just make it a gentle nudge of a desire versus this attack, you start to sabotage all of the joy that you're feeling within yourself, and starting to sabotage it in your relationships around you. And it can get really hard, right? It can feel like, well, how am I going to get to that place? Well, the first step is being able to break those three pods down. The thing you're comparing, what you're comparing it to in yourself, what does it take away? And then how does it make you feel at the end? And then honestly ask yourself, is this in alignment with my changeless facts? And you have to make a decision about what is going to be the truth for you. You can't allow for the experiences that you have in your day-to-day life to decide the thing that's true. You have to decide what's true for you before you step out into the world, before you put your feet on the ground in the morning. You have to decide that these are the things that I'm going to believe are true about myself. These are the things that I'm going to believe are possible for me. These are the things that I'm going to believe feel good for me, that reinforce and edify my position and my power in the world and in my personal life. And you have to stay in that, because the more you compare, the further you're going to pull yourself away from that energy that's in alignment with you being full and radiating with your power, and it'll just continue to build up. And that's really what this idea of the comparison is, a thief of joy. And the way to combat that, as I said, was making those three little pods. You also want to get in a space where you can celebrate that thing in someone else, and the more you celebrate it instead of criticizing it in them, because sometimes we can get into comparison mode. We see something in them and then we want to attack it. And the attack is just all about separation. It has no other purpose than that. It's just about separating and isolating so that we can go further into darkness, further into the things that are not true, further away from our changeless facts, further away from God, further away from our spirit, further away from our temptress energy, further away from feeling sexy. And then it feels like there's such a long battle to get back. But the minute that we allow ourselves to celebrate the thing that we're seeing, celebrate the thing that our ego tries to make this thing that needs comparison, the sooner we'll get back to our temptress energy, the sooner we'll get back to our sexy. So I hope that this tip helps you all this week. I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts, and I will talk to you soon.